Well, the youth is actually a progressive development of the leaders and the citizens of the future. In the youths are the new families, in the youths are new fathers, in the youths are new mothers, in the youths are new leaders of the future. In the youths are those who are going to be setting new infrastructure. In the youth are the establishment of the infrastructure that enables them to have sustainable building for the future. And if that's the case, then youth has to be motivated by vision. What we mean about that is that there has to be a reality that they perceive, and then they have to be empowered and set the strategic developmental process, the things that is relevant in its own time, while we keep on moving into the reality that we are pursuing. And that reality has got to be relevant to the global development. And we, the facilitators or the leaders of today, our relevant leadership is that we are embodying the patterns of what it should be. But these patterns is not in terms of operational functionality, but in terms of philosophy, in terms of the principles, in terms of the values that can be sustained right through. Integrity is the same, but it's different in a different environment. In the future, where internet and the access to a global world, it requires a whole development of the heart of the people to be able to live with integrity. Integrity is like a wall. It keeps us safe. When you say you're going to do something, it's going to be done. When you have this certain kind of money, you don't overspend. You don't go and do other things, because the value of what you have will expand your vision. If you have $50, your vision is only limited to certain things that you can utilize that $50. And you increase the value of the dollar, it increases the perspective and the wonderment of the people. And to restrain that is something that has to be built. So we have to build restraint when the walls are down. When the people are living in the boarding school, they are restrained by law and legal requirements. They're restrained by do's and don't do's. It does not make them strong enough and powerful enough to live in a more modernized world when the walls are down. So the youths are actually a conversion point. They have energy, they have vigor, they have time, they have flexibility. They are not tied down with too much responsibility. They don't have children to go and look after. They are thinking about themselves. But also at that time, selfishness, which is actually part of the voice and the strong push that comes from the environment that they need to manage. This needs to be built inside of the youth today. So youths are very relevant. Youths are not just for us to create alternative systems for convenience, because we need to manage this youth. The majority of the percentage of the citizens of life, citizens of the nation, of society, are youths. That is true in every nation. So what we have to understand is to be able to discern, to have penetrating vision into the future, know what's around the bend, and determine the shape of that, understand the shape of the reality of life inside of that civilization. Once we do that and we come back here and begin to build according to what is the resources available. If we don't have these resources, begin to grow them or begin to import them. And it has to be a strategic development to a reality that we have now perceived. So our maturity and our strength to father this generation to the future is that not because that we already there. So we cannot just train them according to our history. We cannot train them according to our historical accumulated values, accumulated achievements, but it has to be fundamental values and philosophies and perspective of the future which we perceive, and there has to be relevant construction. And this construction begins inside of us. Life needs to begin to mature, expanded in capacity, strengthened in our resolve, in our commitment. It's got to be inside of our heart, because our heart has the capacity to expand beyond the boundary of the limitations of current time that you live in. Our head is so limited to what you can read, what you can study. It can set the limitation of that by wanting to go further in study or not. The history, the culture, all the things that you gained from the past. But instead of our heart, the core of our human life, our humanness, has got a compartment inside of us that has to be the core and the driver. And we at Congress WBN, we are engaged primarily in building that core, because that core determines the sustainability of a certain kind of behavioral patterns and approaches and life systems. So that is important for us. So we are engaging the youth with a certain perspective of all the integration of all different factors that will come together in the future and cause that defines the civilization that we live in. And then if we have to be relevant in that future, then there must be a corresponding building that takes place here now so that it can be relevant in the future. If I can just use an example, forgive me if I can use this example, which is in the book that many people read. It's called the Bible. There was a guy called Noah. A sight of a reality. He saw rain, then he has to build ark. He cannot build a 10-story building because that is not relevant to this reality that he now perceived. At that time when he existed, there was no rain. In other words, when you are describing the reality of the future, you are describing it to a people that are already intoxicated with the current reality. But that current reality will change. So the key thing is to be futuristic in your envisioning. Envision the future. Envision that. And then you are working toward that. So in other words, we have to be building the people that have a powerful self-concept. The people that are modern and practical, right? And people that are skilled and world-class in execution. Because a lot of nations, they don't trust us because of our governance. They don't believe that they can give us money and we can produce what we said we will produce. We have to produce youth that are strong in their personal identity. They are strong but flexible enough to migrate through any culture. Because in the future it's going to be so integrated. We'll have Africans living here in Fiji. We have Asians all over the place in Fiji, in Africa, everywhere. We cannot just be safe because we are all Fijians. We need to live in such a way that in integrated society, but we are powered by our capacity to perceive the reality of the future and our ability to build with the resources that we have so that we can be relevant in that future. So let me just say this. For us in Congress WBN, we exist in over 90 nations across the world. We are building the structures of life. We perceive the reality. We understand the positive effect of globalization. We also understand the negative part of it. And this negative part is actually based on the crushing of the human life, the heart of man. And when we talk about the heart, we're talking about their conviction. You know, the basis and the platform in which they made their commitment, they made their sacrifice, and their perception of this future reality. So we are engaging powerfully inside of this. And we build schools that are relevant education system, it needs to change. We cannot just emphasizing going to have degrees and going to have more qualifications. That is good, but that should be riding on a platform of a certain kind of values that we know that will sustain to the future. If you plant a certain crop in a patch of soil, in a block, that come the harvest time, all that you see will be taken away. But the thing that ensures the sustainability of another harvest is the quality of the soil. So the quality of the soil is the condition of the heart. All your performances, your achievements, all that you've attained in life has got to be executed and developed and constructed out of the platform of a heart that has the values that is relevant today, relevant tomorrow, and anytime in the future. Only then you can say that we can have a sustainable building process. So I want to thank you. Thank you. And Congress WBN just want to come alongside the ministry, the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of Education. We want to come and offer resources. We want to come and partner together and to create a synergistic thrust that will break any resistance. Can it be done? Yes, can be done. We've seen there's a school called Northgate in Trinidad. Now, over 100 schools in Jamaica. It is being built in Nigeria. It is being built down the east in Kenya and Tanzania that way, but starting from Kenya, and then also in Zambia and coming down south in the African continent. Right now, we are authorized to export all these values-based human development and education into all parts of the world of Congress in over 90 nations. We want to partner with you. We want to partner with the youth leaders and Ministry of Youth. We want to partner with education leaders and educators and Ministry of Education. So we want to thank you. We offer ourselves. Thank you very much.